oh, hello. Do we have to hit that?
Oh, no, I just started the recording.
Okay, okay. Well, it just came up on mine and said this meeting is being recorded. That's new. So I was just listening to something this morning that said the new thing that's happening for meetings now is that when people come on, a lot of them are starting to wave. That the greetings and how we sort that the whole way of starting out a meeting and having people join, welcome Jackson, is so different than when we all group together and take off our coats and find our chairs and go to our tables. So these Zooms are now starting with waves. It's the closing off of the meetings that's a little abrupt because you just hit leave meeting rather than sort of leave the building, walk out together, share a coffee afterwards or whatever. But anyway, we'll all start this meeting with a wave and welcome everybody who's here and welcome everybody who might take the time to be interested in watching us as well. So we will start and thank Karen for getting us on track and Jim for being here as well and putting the agenda together and finding some things for us to discuss. So I will make note that this Heritage Advisory Committee meeting is being held by electronic participation pursuant to the municipality's procedural bylaw number 2020-020 as amended and section 238 3.1 of the Municipal Act 2001 as amended, and the video recordings will be uploaded to the Municipality of Trent Hill's website following the meeting. And we have already verified that we are recording and I've called it to order. And I would like a motion to deal with the agenda. So if we can have a motion to approve the agenda as circulated to everyone. Mover Judy and Kat as a seconder. Thank you. Unless there are any comments, I will call for the vote. Karen?
Judy?
Yes.
Jackson?
Yes.
Eric?
Yes.
Kat?
Yes.
That's carried by 4, Madam Chair.
Okay, and I will note that committee member Eric has disclosed disqualifying interest similar to our last meeting with respect to item 5B, and that he will turn off his video and not participate in the discussion, neither will he vote, just for the record. So the minutes of our meeting held on March the 24th should be in front of you, and I will ask for a mover and a seconder so we can deal with them. Kat and a seconder. Thank you, Jackson. Okay, anything in the minutes that either is not being dealt with this evening or somebody had a particular question about or comment? Hearing nothing, I'll ask the deputy clerk to call the vote, please.
Kat?
Yes.
Judith?
Yes.
Jackson?
Yeah.
Eric?
Yes.
That's carried by 4, Madam Chair.
Thank you. Okay, so that brings us to our general business, and we are have some information regarding the masonry restoration guidelines and an excerpt from the council meeting. Jim, is there anything that you wanted to mention regarding that and how it went and was received?
No, I don't think so. I think this just shows that that information went through to council and was accepted.
Okay. Any questions or comments from anybody else? Then I'll have a motion to accept the information that's there. A mover and a seconder, please. Thank you, Jackson and Judy. Call the vote, please, Karen.
Jackson?
Yes.
Eric?
Yes.
Kat?
Yes.
Judith?
Yes.
That's carried by 4.
Thank you. Now, Eric, I think you need to hit a button and just, there we go. And we'll make sure we call him back when it's time to come back. So the next is just sort of updating us on the Heritage Grant Program grant application from Eric and Carla Bus and the discussion at the council meeting. Jim, anything there?
No, it was approved by council, and it just sort of closes the loop by coming back to the committee to show that the recommendation was accepted. I don't think the work has been scheduled yet. I think that's sort of waiting for the lockdown to lift.
Right, okay. Any questions from any of the members of the committee or comments? Then I just need a motion to, a recommendation for a council, that the council motion as stated there, that it be received for information, and I need a mover and a seconder. Okay, Kat and Jackson, thank you. Karen, can you call the vote, please?
Yeah, Kat,
Yes.
Judith,
Yes.
Jackson,
Yes.
Eric.
Oh, he's in.
Oh, sorry.
No, Eric this time. Thanks, Karen.
So that's carried by 3, Madam Chair.
Thank you. Okay, Eric, you can show us your face again. You're welcome to return to the meeting. There he is. Okay, thanks. So now that brings us to item number C regarding the Heritage Grant Program and a grant request from Brent Thomson regarding shingle replacement and fascia repair. And there is a report and some information there. And perhaps, Jim, you could take us through that and give us some information. There's a fair bit there.
Yeah, so a house at 133 Front Street West in Hastings, that's designated. We included the, I think the bylaw was quite old, but there had been an updated statement of, heritage and cultural significance that was also provided. And then the owners had sought out different quotes and preferred to go with, I think it was, I can't think of his name, but Bryce, who had done work at one of the buildings, designated buildings in Warkworth, not, I believe, last summer. So that, and it was for reshingling the roof, which is important to any heritage building to make sure that there's not water getting into the whole structure, and then to do some fascia repair, which they were using clear pine, and it was going to be painted white. So it was as close to duplicating what's there as they can get.
Okay.
And can answer any questions. And I can't remember, Karen, whether I sent you what the number would be to go in this motion or not, but I can certainly calculate it before the minutes are completed. But it's just under $5,000, I believe, like 4,080, 880 something, I think.
Let me check. I can check my email, Jim.
Yeah, I thought I had included it in an email to you so that we had the number, but I can't remember what it is at the moment.
It's okay. I'll find it. Well, you.
Okay.
I located it in the
Okay.
supporting materials. The eligible amount you said was $4,887.56.
Yeah, I have that number written down here, and I thought that's what it was. So
If that's not correct, we could say to a maximum of 5,000.
well, yeah, that's what's recognized, but that's based on the estimate that he's been provided. That would be the number, which is 50% of the eligible costs.
Okay, so Karen, you have that now?
Yes.
Okay, all right. Any other comments or questions from those that have read the material, and any feedback? You're fine. I'm sorry that Skye's not here because I imagine she has an interest in this.
Oh, she just came in,
Ah,
actually.
we'll wait for a moment then.
There she is.
Hello, Skye.
Skye, turn your voice on.
I'm on.
Okay,
okay.
just for your information,
Trouble connecting, so I don't know what happened. You said, wait a minute, and I waited and waited and waited and waited, and then finally I just closed the whole thing and reopened it, and here you are.
Oh, there you go.
good.
So it was
Okay.
like, I think it was probably something on my end. Who knows, right?
Yeah, I was watching for you and I didn't see you.
Well,
So-
I've tried for about 10 minutes.
Well, it's appropriate that you're here now, Skye, because
Good.
we're dealing with the grant application from Brett Thomson
Okay,
at 133 Front Street West, Hastings. And Jim just explained briefly what they were hoping to do, and we're at the point where there are any questions or comments. So did you have anything to say regarding this matter, or we'll just ask for motion to move forward?
I think we can move forward. I've seen it.
Okay.
I mean, I have no, I don't have, were there any issues that you came up with in your discussion, or you haven't had any issues?
No.
No, it seems good. I'm all for people trying to do things.
Excellent. So the only thing that we added in the motion was the amount of $4,887.56
Oh.
as the amount that would be dealt with. So
Madam Chair, I just found the email from Jim, and he, based on the calculation and pulling out the HST, the grant amount is $4,971.59, and that's based on the email from Jim.
okay, that would be with the HST. So
And that's,
4,000
is that half, that's half of the total, correct?
Yes.
That's what I
Yeah.
thought.
Yeah.
Okay, it all makes sense to me.
Okay. So I just need a mover and a seconder for that.
I so move, since I'm here.
Skye, okay, and a seconder? Judy, I saw Judy's hand go up. Okay, Karen, would you call the vote, please?
Skye,
Yes.
Judith,
Yes.
Jackson,
Yes.
Eric,
Yes.
Kat,
Yes.
that's carried by 5, Madam Chair.
Thank you very much. Next, item D is under public education, the Heritage Awareness Plaque Program, and an update on some of what's taking place, the plaques. Who'd like to start on this one?
I think Judy's been working on a couple.
Okay, then Judy, I'll allow you to go first there.
Well, I've been working on one for Janice Bell and one for the Doyles who live next door to her. And I contacted BMR in early April. And the person that did all the plaques when we first started the program is no longer with the company. And we haven't had any needs for quite a while. So when I called, I asked who would be the person I should talk to about this, and they gave me a name. So I contacted this woman, and she was from home. So I said, well, I will send you the information that's to go on the plaque. And, you know, that they've made many of these for us before. So I'm sure that there would be information there, you know, in terms of the template and so on that would be used. Well, a month went by and I heard nothing. So I contacted her and she said, oh, well, first of all, no, she sent me, and I had given her the information to go on the plaque. I got an email back and said, is it just William? And I thought, what? So I sent her all the information again. And then as I say, a month goes by and I get an email saying, well, we don't do engraved plaques. You know, what is it that you want?
Oh my gosh.
So I said and I went to explain to her that this was a program that the BMR had been involved with, that they'd done almost 50 plaques for us. And there must be somebody there who knows, you know, what the template looks like and how to set it up and so on. And maybe could she see if there was somebody who could assist her with this. So then Jim, you sent me an email giving me a name. So I contacted that person and I sent the information. And this is what, I don't know whether you can see it or not, but this is what I asked to have on the plaque. So it
Hold
should,
it up a tiny bit higher, Judy, just a bit higher. There you go.
it's crooked, but anyway, I'll read it to you. You've got a sense it's in 3 lines. And it says William Barnett House, 2nd line, built in 1875. Small brick cottage with both Regency and neoclassical influences. This is what I got back.
Oh no.
Yeah. They're missing some.
They're missing the whole line and they got the wrong date.
Hmm.
So, Jim, did
Did
you?
did you actually get a plaque or did you just get a?
No, I didn't get a plaque. I
Oh,
just
good.
wanted to see
Okay.
what it would look like.
Of course, they always sent us a printout.
Yeah.
Exactly. But no, William Barnett House, not in one line, built in 1895. And it was built in 1875. Anyway, I'm not sure. I don't know why they left that line off. I thought, I'm not doing anything about it just until we have our meeting, because I also wanted to double check the two sizes of plaques that we made available to people before. Because I could not find anything in my records from years ago as to the size of the plaques. And so I thought, I know Janice wants one to put on her house, which would be the regular size, and then she wants a bigger one. But I'm going to have to
First
contact
things first.
Just hold, Skye. I'll have you first, Skye, when Judy's
great.
finished, okay?
Sorry.
Just, no, we have to be, okay, go ahead. Finish Judy and then Skye's
So,
next.
I have to know the size of the finished plaques that's possible and send that to them, and also send this back and say that this is incomplete. And I don't know who's doing it. I mean, I got the message back with this from the person I was dealing with the first time. So, and she didn't know a blessed thing about them. So,
Okay, Jim, did you want to respond or will we let Skye comment first?
yeah,
I can just say that, yeah, I went back to Brian, who used to be the person there that helped us. And so he sent me the contact he suggested. So keep trying, Judy. If there's a problem, let me know and I'll talk to them.
Okay.
now I'll call, was it Jennifer?
Yeah.
Yeah, and so I think I'll contact her, and because I sent her all the information too.
Yeah.
You know, but now what I've done is instead of just putting the information in an email, I'm going to send this as an attachment to show them exactly how it's supposed. I even in the email laid it out with spacing and so on, but I don't know what the problem is.
Okay. Skye, sorry.
Okay, I had a similar problem because I inquired about some signs I had sent ages ago. This is to do with Warkworth, and never got an answer back again and decided to wait till the meeting. The thing is, Brian had a complete file of everything, and
Yeah.
and he must have left it there. I mean, I'm certain he didn't take it with him because it was company,
Yeah.
whatever. So it's got to be there somewhere.
Yeah,
My
this is what I thought.
And my feeling might be to say, through you, Jim, that Brian asked not the people who are doing this kind of work now, but the bosses to say, okay, if you've got people, do they know how to do this work? Because it doesn't seem like they do. They don't understand it. And also, do they have the files? Because maybe they just don't know where to look for them. That would be my feeling, is they're just lost in the abyss of 1,000 things.
Well, that's what I thought.
The other thing is there are two sizes, a small one, which is the one that's on Tony Tuitt's, the house that used to be Toad Hall. And it's tiny. And I don't think we made more than 2 of them. Virtually everybody gets the same size plaque, which is the larger of the 2 plaques. That's all I've ever done for people, is the larger of the 2 plaques. So mine are the larger size.
I thought most of them were about this big. And then there was one that was like this. There's one on, is it Burnbrae Road at the end near the end of Burnbrae, the far end of Burnbrae. It's on a hanger and it's double-sided.
That's mine too.
Definitely bigger than most of the ones that I've seen on the houses.
It's not. It's just the sign's bigger because it's on a bigger mount, I think. because I've only ever ordered the larger size, and how long have I been making plaques? Some time. The only other size they had was smaller than that one.
So it sounds to me as if what we need to do first of all is see what information we have in our own files on sizes. If possibly we have a template or something ready made up as a sample that we should keep on our own, if we need to show people that we have an extra one, sort of a sample made up, and then see what's taking place at the company, because I would suspect that the fact that you said we haven't done one in some time, that
No,
there has been a change in staffing. And also, you can probably respect the fact that some of the people working at home don't have access to the files that are at work. And it just makes it that much more difficult. And if it's new individuals, they haven't had the chance to get their hands on it and look at it. So I think we'll chalk it up in a way to COVID, but probably we need to be very explicit with what our details are and sketches, drawings, and not just assume they're familiar. And that way,
Yeah.
we're being far more specific than probably we needed to be when the other individual was working there, because as we all know, he had a good sense of what we wanted, and he was also, you know, good at his job. And so maybe we were a little bit fortunate in not having to do so much work, and we need to put more hands on it at this point.
I have one other question. They sent me an estimate of the cost of the plaque,
Yes.
and I never got we never individually got estimates for plaques. They went directly to the municipality. So this plaque was estimated at about $28 plus HST. And I don't know if that is in line even with inflation as to what we paid for them, but I thought we paid an awful lot less.
Oh, I think generally they were in the range of $50. So,
Were they?
yep, which is still incredibly inexpensive.
Yes.
Yeah, I have no problem. I'll call up the company and talk to them and just see if I can get us all on the track again. The one thing I'll say is that at least we got a template, even though the information was wrong. It is the right template that they sent back.
Yeah, they did, and it seems to be in the right colors.
Yeah.
And it has the Trent Hills logo on it. You know, it's just, I don't know whether they just looked at it and thought, well, all that information won't fit, so I just won't bother.
Well, we continue to work with them, but it is a good point. It is challenging if people are working at home and don't have access to all the files.
Yeah, and I wondered if that was the case. I suggested maybe she asked somebody who might be able to give her some assistance.
Right. And if we have copies of our own stuff, we should forward it. Maybe at least Jim keep a file in the office. If we've got some, then we can mark them as being incorrect. But when we're showing something, we could send it to them and say, this is the template. Now, what can you put on it and do with it?
Yeah, I'll see if we have any examples we can share.
Okay.
Yes. No, go ahead, Skye.
Okay. I put my hand up.
No, that's good.
Is that good? I have back files because I keep things from my Gmail account. So I'll go back. We had over 150 in 2017, just to let you know.
Yeah.
We have a lot of them. So there are lots. And I will go and find the two sides. I can probably find the two sizes and also some samples. And exactly what Judith did is what I did, you know, put the information down, organized it by size, more or less. And then Brian would just, I mean, we never had occasionally had a problem. He'd, you know, fix something up or add a photograph, but really it was very straightforward. So it's all somewhere there.
Good.
So I'll send it to you, Jim. Is that okay?
Yeah, perfect.
I'll do a little research. You may get a few emails with bits and pieces from, it'll be like a blast from the past.
Fine.
Okay, so Judy, other than your difficulties with the sign, how is everything else coming in terms of what your project?
Well, I'm still waiting to hear back from the Doyles in terms of any more specific information.
Okay.
But I think once Janice is fine with this wording. And so it's just a matter of getting the plaque. And I will, oh, excuse me, I have a very itchy nose. I will double check with her in terms of, I think I'm gonna, should I hold off, Jim, in sending this back until we get it cleared as to who should
No, go ahead. I think, if we hit them from multiple avenues,
Okay,
it'll be positive that way.
okay. So, but the thing is, if you can, once you know the two sizes, if you'd let me know what they are, because I know
Yeah.
Janice Bell would like to have one of each.
Okay.
Thank you, Judy. Anybody have any questions for Judy or comments on this project? Okay, all right. Who's next? Anyone else got something to report on anything that's going on? Nothing? No others in the works? Jim, have we heard anything from out there?
No, I think Judy was working on a couple. I think Eric and Kat, we had something going on Old Hastings Road. We were trying to find more history.
And I'm still working on two.
Yeah,
Three.
yeah, the Lockmaster's house and a couple of others.
The two in Warkworth for the fair. They've just,
Oh, yeah, for the,
they've
yes,
just
fair board.
canceled the fair again. So when I sent them a notice, they sent me back a thing telling me it was canceled again. In other words, it's a work in progress.
Right.
I think everything is a work in progress right now. Good. So is there anything else for that area in terms of updates? If not, then what we'll do is we'll ask for a mover and a seconder to approve or to actually accept. I'm looking at your motion here, Karen, but it'll be basically to accept the information that's provided and to take the action that we just discussed with Jim with respect to going further with the signs. That sound good?
Okay, so we're not going to work on identifying the properties.
Oh, that's the next step, I think.
Yeah, I think at this point, we're just going to accept the information Judy's given us and move forward on clarifying the issues around the making of the plaques. That'll be the first motion I'd suggest at this point.
Okay, all right, I will adjust that.
Okay. A mover and a seconder on that. Okay, thanks, Eric. And a seconder? Jackson? Call the vote, please, Karen.
Eric,
Yes.
Kat? Kat?
I'm sorry, I was politely muted. Yes.
Skye?
Yes.
Judith?
Yeah,
Jackson?
Yes.
That's carried by 5.
Okay, now the next part of the motion that Karen was talking about is just a suggestion that staff bring forward a report identifying any properties where a heritage awareness plaque is displayed, not listed in the Municipal Cultural Heritage Properties Register. And I didn't know whether that was an action we wanted to do today. Jim, did that?
Well, Karen and I have been talking about the register, and we know it's come up in previous meetings that we're dealing with properties that have requested plaques that may not be on the register. So we think it's time to do some updating. And if the members, you don't have to name them now, but I mean, certainly you can email us if you're aware of properties that that may have plaques that you don't think are on the register. We can double check our list, and then we're also looking at just generally how do we continue to keep the register up to date. So it's really,
the
it
register.
will really be an ongoing item, I think, don't you, Karen?
Yeah, I just think in order to, based on the fact that the plaques are supposed to be like, I think the process is a little bit mixed up in some cases,
Backward.
in that there's some plaques on heritage sites that are not on the register. So based on what I'm reading, it would appear that it goes on the register first. It's determined by council that property qualifies, and then it then gets the plaque. So if we can just clean up some of those ones that are not currently in that situation or that order, then we can go from there.
So, having heard what Karen just said, could we have a mover and a seconder to make that happen? Kat, Judy, thank you. Any comments?
I
Okay.
think,
No,
I think we got kind of thinking outside the box a little bit with some of the properties that we thought maybe should have plaques. And no, there are a number that are not in the register.
Okay.
So,
Skye, comment?
yeah, I was going to say some of our heritage plaques are different from, of course, the provincial ones. And many of them are places of interest or cultural interest rather than, and that is cultural heritage rather than like proper, what do we call it? Bricks and mortar heritage anyway. So that's why it's such a more expansive list. That's one reason. And so it was, and we've always assured people it's never going to affect your property value. It's not, you're not getting no restrictions will be made on you for having a plaque. So it's a different perspective than the provincial one. So you may not have understood that difference between the two things. That's one part. The other thing is I did look up the heritage plaque application, and I'll forward it, just the one I have to you, Jim. It does not mention the size anywhere, but we did have two sizes, and we had a small one and we had what we called a large one. But as I say, I have two large ones back to back, and they're not large. They're larger than the provincial plaques are about the size of the small plaque. And but the provincial plaques are metal. The plaque we've used the most is the big one because it's got room for more information, right? So, and as I say, the Toad Hall is the only one I know in Hastings that has a small plaque. So that's as much as I can do, but I will forward it to you.
Okay, so you're going to forward that information on, and with respect to the motion, we have a mover and a seconder, and we'll try and get this straightened out and properly in order.
Madam Chair, can I just ask, so I'm just referencing perhaps the website needs to be changed then, or that, because it does say that if your property is on the Municipal Culture Properties Register, then you are eligible for the program to receive a Heritage Awareness Plaque. So perhaps that's not based on what Skye just said. I just want to make sure that it's clear.
Yeah, no, I think what Judy said.
That's the way it should be. If they're on the register, then they can apply for a plaque.
Yes, but some properties have a plaque.
Some properties that are either have plaque or have plaques in progress that are not on the register.
Yes.
So it's a matter of
capturing
them on.
Yes. Yeah. So if we can capture those and get those added to the register, take those to council and get those added to the register, then it would be consistent.
I think maybe we should have possibly a two-part thing. So the ones who don't have a register but are getting a plaque, we just need to send them a sheet to ask, don't we have a sheet that is the registrar's sheet?
No, we can put properties on the register without their permission. We're the ones that make up the register.
All right, well, let's with the motion, what we've asked is that staff bring forward a report. So if we get the report in hand, identifying those properties where a Heritage Awareness Plaque is displayed but not listed on the Heritage Properties Register, then we'll know which ones we're dealing with and what we need to do in going forward, and then we can work on the details of fixing that up.
Sure thing.
See how big a job it is. Thank you, Karen, for looking at that. It's always nice, fresh eyes trying to figure out what we've done and helping us get back to where we should be. So, okay, so I have a mover and a seconder, and I think Jim, you understand what it is we're trying to do, so thank you. Okay, so call the vote, please, Karen.
Kat,
Yes.
Skye,
Yes.
Judith,
Yes,
Jackson,
Yes.
Eric.
Yes.
That's carried by 5, Madam Chair.
Thank you. Okay, now just a bit of an update of what everybody has been up to since we last met, particularly in terms of heritage activities around our community or our province, if it took you further. So I'm going to go around the circle, start with Judy. You're on my top right.
well, my other heritage hat, being the Heritage Campbellford Seymour Heritage Society, is closed due to the stay-at-home order. So nothing really has been happening there. And I'm still trying to figure out, as you know, plaques for. So that's it.
Thank you. Jackson.
Nothing's going on in this neck of the woods at all. Real quiet.
I don't know whether is that good or bad, should I ask?
I don't know. It was very, very busy for the Lilac Festival that was not held. But you couldn't get a parking spot in town for 2 days. So that was a real boost. I've never seen that many cars in town in over a year.
Oh.
And everyone was just walking the Millennium Trail. And my God, this year, that was so beautiful. It was so powerful. You could smell it from Highway 29 when you're driving across. So it did get a lot of people, even though it wasn't supposed to happen.
Okay, that's good.
Yeah, but heritage-wise, nothing's going on. The Awe Center is still closed, and it will be for the foreseeable future, like everything else.
Yeah. Okay. Skye.
Well, I'd say the same in terms of local heritage things, except for the garden, of course, the community edible peace garden, which is going to go into its second season under COVID, and it's because we did so well last year, we didn't have to do anything except send them an email saying same as last year. So that's great. We have some additions. The Boy Scouts have got 5 boxes. And at some point when we're out of lockdown, we will have a memorial for Solveig Rasmussen. Did many of you knew Solveig? Wonderful community member, excellent gardener, passed away. And she insisted on 2 things: no funeral. She wanted to have a ceremony in the edible peace garden, and she donated her bench and various other things. So we've incorporated all that. So that's, at least it's something that makes you feel you're doing something. The garlic's growing, the nasturtiums are growing. We just put in sweetgrass. So that's as best I can. And as for the rest of it, I'm actually in a kind of odd state because of my affiliations with India, since everybody must know how terrible it is there. Mm-hmm. So since the real, whatever you want to call it, knockdown is what I'd call it in India, I've lost about 8 friends. And so it's been a really rough time. I haven't been, I've just given myself some space to deal with it and try to do something useful. So what I do for 4 to 5 hours a day is work with an organization in Jaipur, another one in Bihar, and another one in the Punjab in Chandigarh. And I'm actually going to be giving lectures and webinars to students from home on various topics related to just, keeping alive interest in craft and so on. And I've also been translating for a local online newsletter in Jaipur, writings from doctors at the front lines and things like that. It's tough, but it's very, I feel at least I'm of some use because it's something they need help with and it's something I can do. So I'm basically editing for so many hours a day. Anyway, it's a tough time, and I'm just letting myself be the garden, be the other side of it, which it is. The garden's wonderful. So that's my report.
That's why they're healing gardens.
Exactly. And peace gardens, not just vegetables. Right. It's not just food, it's your mental health. I'm hoping when lockdown is over that we can invite people to take what I will call bubble picnics, which means you buy food at one of the restaurants in Hastings in a small group and come to the garden and have a picnic.
Picnic. Good.
But we can't do that yet. So
Good.
working on it.
Eric,
I have nothing new to report,
but you're here.
but
And
I'm
we're
here.
glad to have you here. Kat,
Don't have anything personal to report, and I can't remember if I said this last time, but I'll say it again if I did. I think St. Paul's Church in Warkworth has been using some of the downtime to revive the sanctuary and do some renovations in there. So it's just, that'll be a place when things open up to go check out. It's beautiful. The pictures I've seen look amazing. More of a stage area for performances and community events as well. So just, I encourage people to keep an eye out for St. Paul's United Church in Warkworth when things are places you can look again.
okay, Jim?
Not too much. I just had an email this afternoon. Northumberland County, the GIS folk are looking, I think, to put together something about haunted properties throughout the county. So I'll be sending out a separate email and you can share your knowledge of any haunted properties that we can pass on to them.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah.
Is evidence required?
Well, I know of 3 where I can share my own personal experience. So that's where my knowledge comes from.
I want to hear about that.
Oh,
Well-
Randy and I hired a Ghostbuster for 52 Main. It's actually William Lyon Mackenzie's great-great-granddaughter, and they're all touched. She came here and she spent the weekend, and it was so bad we left.
Oh,
Wow.
no, really?
We
So-
had to. It was becoming, we couldn't live here anymore. So we called her in. It was a fortune. And she every time, like, she'd walk in the living room and bend down and say, "Who are you?" And she's talking to a little girl that died of the plague. And I said to Randy, "I'd get the fuck out of here." We just went. I couldn't handle it. And it just she was picked up and thrown against a wall.
Okay,
I swear to
Jim,
God.
there you go.
I think
No, I know everybody will have stories they can share. So I'll solicit
Yep.
information that I can pass along.
And
And I knew-
her
And
contact.
I knew Jackson would have some really
Yeah.
good ones.
You know, no matter how short or limited our meetings are, we always end up with something interesting, don't we? The one tidbit that I'm not sure everyone knows, I'm sure Jim and Kat, you may have gone to school with them, but one of the former resident of Campbellford is actually the individual who is, I forget the name of the company, but the ghost walks in Kingston as well as in Ottawa. Shackleton
Is it Glenn Shackleton? He was a good buddy of my brother's. Yeah.
Yeah, Glenn or Scott, who grew up in Campbellford and then went off, and they have quite a business with that. But it does attract a lot of individuals. And I believe there was someone at one point who was looking at doing some walks through the community who were going to tell stories of some of the businesses as well. Yeah.
Well, this lady in particular, you hire her to ghost bust your house before you put it on the market. That's how I found her. And she does all the mansions in Rosedale, and she goes to Niagara on the Lake, all over the place. She's quite famous. And she wrote a lot of screenplays or television screenplays for different stories that were on the TV, that
Wow.
she were her own experiences that she would give them to use as documentation.
Wow.
So she's quite wild, and she's quite famous, and she's a small fortune, but she knows what she's doing because she's not only a medium, she's a psychic. So suddenly she'll just start talking about somebody that you know that's passed on because they're standing right beside you. So it's quite unnerving. And I've never been around anybody that was so real like that before. And of course, she had a gigantic article on the REM magazine, which is the real estate magazine that goes across Canada. And she had a full page article. So our company actually brought her in for a whole talk on what she does, how she does it. She calls it energy cleansing. And she doesn't call it ghost busting necessarily, but what she does is pretty remarkable. And right in the middle of it. We were having dinner at a restaurant and she said to me, Belle's here and she just wants to say hi. And I said, I don't know a Belle. And she got mad at me. She says, she's right here. And I said, I don't know a Belle. She says, older lady, 5 feet tall, thick glasses, like the bottom of a Coke bottle. And it was my Aunt Isabel. Right. So I didn't know her as Belle, but that's how it came out. Told me exactly where she was and where she was from and said hi, and off she went. So this woman is like the people you see on TV that just start talking. That's her.
Wow. Thank
And
you.
we can reference her. She loves to be interviewed, Jim. she's really all about that kind of stuff to promote herself. So I'll give you her number. She's quite fascinating.
Sounds good.
Great. And all I was going to compliment you on, Jim, were the lilacs around your house.
Yeah, they're doing very well.
They're gorgeous. Yes. Karen, anything to offer?
I don't think so. I'm almost been here for 6 months now, learning a lot.
Wow.
Months.
Next
And
week it'll be 6 months. Crazy.
You're digging into all our files.
There's a lot of them.
Yeah.
Have we driven you crazy yet?
No, my kids already did that.
Oh,
And the only thing I can offer right now is that it's been very interesting. My time has been taken up with a lot of things around the cemetery that I look after, primarily because many people are trying to get their act together with respect to their papers, and they've been around family, heritage, history, ownership of plots, and focusing on that. I've had 5 different families just this month alone who are wondering who owns what and what this is and what that is. Nothing in their family to, no illness or pending death of anyone. It's just, they're really keen now. I guess they've, redone their house. They've stayed home long enough. And they're getting down to this and trying to settle this. But it's interesting when you start digging into family histories and helping them put the puzzles together, and finding monuments in a cemetery of family members that they didn't know were there. That's the other interesting part. So there's still a lot of interest in the history and the heritage. So there's no motion on that. It's all for information purposes, but it sounds like we have a good link between Jim and what you've been asked to provide and Jackson. So we'll look forward to seeing how that's going to come. It looks like our next meeting is scheduled for, hold your horses, September 22nd.
wow.
Which means fall.
Yeah.
Yes.
Maybe we can meet in person.
That would be lovely. Socially distanced, but in person.
Well, and maybe without masks for some of us if we've had our second.
Well,
I will have had my
work
second.
on your needles. Yeah,
We should all have our second shot by then.
We should. And listening today, you might even get it a little early. Let's hope. That's my hope.
I'm getting it's saying I'm a little unstable here. So if I cut out Jim or Karen, you'll have to finish the meeting. But we also have some correspondence, and I just wanted to say that Judy is featured in pictures in some of this correspondence at the Heritage Center. I think that those are pictures of you, are they not?
Beg your pardon?
Are there not pictures of you in some of the correspondence from the Heritage Center?
Oh, was that the
Oh,
news?
yeah, in the newsletter.
Dale took
So
pictures.
and there's also, pardon?
Dale took pictures over my shoulder as I was reading the old newspapers.
Right,
I think that
right.
was-
Right, and also something around Ontario Heritage Youth, supporting youth with the Heritage Trust. Just some information that Jim has provided and is passing on for us. So we just need a motion to accept that correspondence and have a look at it for your information. Skye and Eric, any questions on any of that or comments? Okay, Karen, do you want to call the vote?
Skye,
Yes.
Judith,
Yes.
Jackson,
Yes.
Eric,
Yes.
Kat.
Yes.
That's carried by 5, Madam Chair.
Okay, thank you. So that brings us to the end of this agenda. And what we need to do is have a motion to adjourn. And then once Karen calls a recorded vote, we just need to just hold on for a couple of seconds while she stops stops the recording, and then we can leave the meeting. So I need a mover and a seconder to adjourn. Judy and Kat, thank you. Karen, call the vote.
Judith,
Yes.
Jackson,
Yes.
Eric,
Yes.
Kat,
Yes.
Skye.
Yes.
That's carried by 5, Madam Chair, that the meeting is adjourned at 4:49 p.m. and I'll just stop the recording.